Yeah, so that'll be interesting. That's something to see. Speaking about guys that are in the lineup, last night, Filip Zadina got back in the lineup after breaking his leg and being out. And I think here's a testament. Let's talk about Filip Zadina a little bit for a minute, because he's back 2 weeks early, right? He's back 2 weeks early, and everything that you hear out of the Red Wings, including Coach Derek Lalonde in his press conference, is seeing how hard he worked. Right? I'm a big believer in karma, and it doesn't always happen and stuff like that. But there's two things that happen there for him to get back in the lineup and for his coach and the rest of his teammates. And he shows his willingness, right? So it's always, when we're talking about Filip Zadina, it's production, right? It's not the fact that he works hard, the fact that he's going to do things, the fact that he's developed his all-around game. Well, why does that matter? Why does that come to fruition? Because last night, I was down at LCA with a lot of it. The Detroit Red Wings were able to pick up a big win, 2-1, with the game winner by Filip Zadina.
And it was a snoozer, too.
What's that?
That was a snoozer.
That was an absolute snoozer. I did Game Day Live for anybody that was down there, but I'm talking to everybody that was down there that heard me, Terry, because I did implore, and I don't do this often, but I did implore the fans to get behind the team in the third period. The biggest goal, obviously, Larkin scoring. Anytime, the golden rule in hockey, you don't want to get scored on in the first minute of a period or in the last minute. So the fact, and here's the thing, right? And it's funny how things, and I notice this more in hockey because I obviously played, but how things can change, and things are cyclical, because it's been 161 minutes and change, which is almost 3 games since the Detroit Red Wings scored a goal against the Calgary Flames. They were able to get one late in the period to tie it up and hold on for the 2-1 win. I saw this because Ville Husso was very solid last night.
35 stops.
Well, 35 shots, and a lot of that, there wasn't where we could call grade A opportunities. I thought, why it was boring, Terry, because there wasn't a lot of action on the inside. A lot of the action was on the outside all game. So it was a
rebounds.
It was a tough one to watch. You were dead nuts on. But those boring games, guys, the great teams in this league win those boring games. Just because it's boring, you got to find a way to win. Now, my question to you, and obviously this is a great pop for Zadina, production-wise, getting back in the lineup. Most assuredly, he'll be in the lineup Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon against Vancouver. But does this give you different expectations for him, or does this change your expectations for the Wings? Because if they can start putting things together, they're still not out of it.
Yeah.
One game never sways me about a team, good or bad. Last night, the dick in me would say, well, Zadina should have scored that goal. He had a wide open net. But the other part of me said, well, he led a great 2-on-1 break, passed it at the right time, got it back at the right time and converted. So, it just doesn't change anything for me. It shows that, he can score. It shows that the Wings can win a game now and then, but I need to see, some consistency over a week for me to change my mind about them.
Bam, you nailed it. And I see this Travis Trilla in the chat thread. We have to play mad every night. We're way too inconsistent. That's the inconsistency, and also too hoof-hearted. You want wins to come as a byproduct of improvement and doing things the right way. I don't care about playoffs or exact number of wins this season, which is the mentality you have to be. What did I say at the beginning of the year? The coach is going to preach the 1-1-3, and I know where's Mike G or whoever, the 1-1-3 and the 3-1-3. You want the shirt, right? He wants the shirt. Over time, the biggest enemy of this team is his inconsistency. Right, and we all see it, right? So the consistency. Does your opinion change on Zadina? I know that Sam Flannel is not on the same page as you, Terry, because one game can change this man's opinion. So it'd be interesting. I know that's in the football circle, one game can change your opinion, but in the hockey circle, can it? change too?
Well, it's funny how the Red Wings, they always get that win. Just when you think they could death spiral again, they always get that win that kind of gets you believing in them again. I know it was a home game, a regular season game, but it was against Calgary, a team that had a winning record, not world beaters or anything, but they had to get that game. And as far as Zadina goes, it's crazy how in hockey, because Philip Zadina, for all intents and purposes, has been a draft bust. That's just by the numbers, that's facts. But even in his 5th season, he can contribute so greatly by scoring a game-winning goal in a big win. That just kind of speaks to the uniqueness of hockey, because you need all those multiple lines, so even as Zadina can remain into the rotation. I could still see them making a playoff run. It was obviously good to see Dylan Larkin score a goal again, but they obviously need to continue this. They can't just... They always seem to win some games to get me believing in them again, and then have some bad losses to where you're like, screw this team, I'm waiting for next year. So for now, I'm happy they got the win, but stay consistent. Put a few together. Get 2 points.
So
Pretty much where you're at, Spenny, is that it's one of these? Nice.
Yeah,
you did what you're supposed to do. In reality, you're only 1-1, against Alberta coming out of the break. And now you got the rest of Western Canada before you go on a tough road trip. It doesn't get any easier.
And by the way, you got to play Calgary again on the, at their place.
Oh, absolutely.
You're don't go there and get beat 6-2 or something ridiculous like that.
And this condensed schedule for the second half of the season doesn't get any easier. That's why having guys back healthy, that's why getting opportunity. I think the big thing here is that you're going to get opportunity, because what is the most glaring thing? And I see it by everybody in the chat thread. We can't score goals, right? We thought we could score goals earlier in the year, but who's gone dry? You look at a guy that we were looking to leading us early in the year, and Dominic Kubalik, he gets scratched last night. So the consistency is not just keeping the puck out of the net, playing good defensively, capitalizing. It's being able to score goals. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's can you put the puck in the other team's net more?
Right. And they're a little bit fortunate. I was convinced Calgary was going to score in the last 2 minutes of that game. They kept the pressure on them. It was the only time really they got not only shots but good opportunities, and all it took was one major mistake by a Red Wing player or defenseman. It didn't happen though, but it just seemed like they were buzzing so much. I'm like, oh, they're gonna score. It's gonna be 2-2.
No, which it always is, and I like what Detroit Dabber 313 is. You look at last night on the ice, you got Zadina, Veleno, and Bergeron, all 2018 draft picks, which is the part of the journey where if you can sit back in the inconsistency, trying to get consistency, look for the positive. Thank you, Dabber, because that is exactly what you're saying. Look at the guys out there, and like I always say, right? Who's going to be that guy of the teams that won who we were, right? Who's going to be the me? Who's going to be the Draper? Who's your Shanny? Who's your Stevie? And when you can fill those pieces in, and I think that conversation, whether is at least penciled in for a few guys, maybe not in permanent marker, but it's penciled in. So, again, back at it tomorrow afternoon, 12 o'clock game. Which will be nice. I'll be down there signing autographs beforehand. Anybody down there? So let's get down there. If you're down there, cheer. I know Tammy will be down there. Everybody else, if you're down there, let's get a picture and let's cheer these guys on to win. Because you're still not out of it. If you can still put these wins together, it's not an easy road, but it can be done, and it'd be nice to see. Because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, these are the guys, right, that you're counting on. And if they are your guys, then you don't have to go out and pay somebody else.